I don't know, man. It's stupid.
It's stupid.
You heard it here first. It's stupid.
Stupid. Hello everyone and welcome back to DCM, Doritos, Connections, and Mountain Dew, your favorite local video game talk show. I'm your host, Howard.
And I'm your co-host, David.
And let's start off with the news. Woo! For our first story tonight, I guess is a little bit of a lighthearted one. During an interview on Hot Ones, the talk show where you eat hot chicken wings and they interview celebrities, Matt Damon was there and stated that there was an attempt for him to voice Jason Bourne in the video game world. The game would have been a first-person shooter. It had Matt Damon reprised his role, and he was apparently offered a large sum of money to do the voice. But the plans fell through because Matt Damon said, and quote, "They offered me a bunch of money, but I was like, if you can make it more, I don't know, a little more thought had to go into it, like Myst. I love that game. So I was like, can you make it more like Myst? And they were like, no. So they just went and made the game without me." Apparently Matt Damon has been trying to get a Jason Bourne game in the style of the PC game Myst for years now, to no avail, and considering the last movie was in 2016 and had no movie tie-in game for it, it seems like the idea for this game will never ever come to fruition.
Huh.
I know, right?
I didn't know Matt Damon was a gamer.
Everyone's a gamer nowadays.
I know, it's cool to be a gamer now. Take-Two Interactive, the parent company that owns both the Grand Theft Auto and Borderlands franchises, to name a few, apparently has 3 remaster/remake projects in development that have yet to be announced. We know one is the umpteenth port of Grand Theft Auto 5, and I think they're doing one port for Kerbal Space Program as well, but these ones, who knows? Could we be getting a BioShock remake? I know 2K Marin or whatever has been trying to do a new BioShock since like a year after Infinite came out. I mean, I think BioShock is aged like a fine wine, so I don't really think we need a remake of that, but
a sequel would be appreciated.
Sequel would be neat. Maybe we'll get a remake of the first Red Dead Redemption. Or perhaps, well, finally, after all these years, could we be getting a follow-up to the greatest game of all time?
Duke Nukem Forever!
That's exactly what I have there.
Yes!
We're on the same way. That's why we co-host a show. We're on the same wavelength. But whether or not we get that, only time will tell. Maybe Aliens Colonial Marines too. Who knows?
In case you missed it, the most recent Microsoft exclusive, the Ascent, was released, and in great news, it has already made $5 million a sale in its first week. The cyberpunk shoot-'em-up released on Xbox, and day one on the Xbox Game Pass, along with it being on PC in August. The game has had positive reception, and guess what? It's a small team of 12 developers who are ecstatic about the community reacting so positively to the game. Along with that, it also disproves one major critique of the Xbox Game Pass, in that it actually doesn't help people purchase games. Because why would you when you're renting things digitally? But if anything, now we can see that the Xbox Game Pass does help encourage sales instead. So congratulations to Curve Digital on your success with the game, and we hope to see more soon. And of course, for our last piece of news, Elden Ring is the next From Software title, written by Game of Thrones writer George R.R. Martin, and has had a lot of buzz on media, but the lack of information is concerning to the audience. One insular group of PC players were concerned that the game would be unavailable on the PC platform Steam, and would be a Epic Games Store exclusive. Worry not, because a Steam page for Elden Ring is live, so that you can pre-order the game now.
Yay, everyone can play Big Dark Souls.
Yep. Even though you really should never actually care whether or not something's Steam or an Epic Game Store exclusive.
Yeah.
Ever.
Really, there's nothing. There's no difference, really.
Oh no, you have to open up another launcher on your PC.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Whatever will we do? Just play the game. Shut up.
And now for our next segment. Hey guys, what you been playing? I've been playing Halo: The Master Chief Collection. Released in 2014 by a myriad of developers and published by Microsoft, comes a huge collection of remastered ports of the FPS title Halo, which includes the games Halo Combat Evolved, its anniversary remake, Halo 2, a brand new remaster of Halo 2 called Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3, and Halo 4. The game is a wonderful collection which includes the individual multiplayer modes of all 4 of these games, so each feels like its own individual experience preserved in one ginormous collection. And what makes this collection truly great is that it's being constantly updated still 7 years later. Not only did they take the time to include the campaign mode of the spin-off game Halo 3 ODST, they also added Halo Reach in that game's multiplayer as well. And as someone who's never played the Halo series, this is a great collection to start playing the games with. Because a lot of these games still hold up, and along with, how they went out of their way to remake the graphics for Halo 2, and you can just swap between the old and the new graphics whenever you want.
Just that push of a button.
Just one push of the button mid-game, you can go back to the old graphics, right? And I think it's a great way to preserve the game, great way to preserve the legacy. My favorite game was Halo 2 with all the beautiful redone graphics.
Man, culture.
Yeah, I loved Halo 2. And now I'm just excited to play Halo Infinite from this collection. I didn't play Halo 5 though. Why would I play Halo 5? It's not in the collection. I don't care. But now you can get Halo: The Master Chief Collection on Xbox consoles and PC.
As for what I've been playing, in light of Marvel Studios' Loki establishing all sorts of multiverse madness, I've been playing LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, and it's not great. After the first was one of the best LEGO games I've played personally, the sequel is an absolute slog to play. I have only just opened up the world map, and I have barely any drive to go back to it. I don't know what it is. There's nothing like objectively wrong with the game. It's just boring. And I don't see how that happened because it's doing all this kind of multiverse stuff. So I don't see how it could be boring. Cause like it's got all the cool Marvel comic characters. Spider-Man Noir's in it. Spider-Man Noir's a cool guy. But how is the game just boring? I don't know how Traveler's Tales accomplished it, but they made a LEGO game that was unsatisfying to play. All LEGO games are satisfying to play. That's the whole point. Because it's so children can play them and have a good time. How did this happen?
He's a grown man. That should be even easier than a child.
I am. Oh, I'm 24. Oh no.
Oops.
LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 is now available to play on PS4, Xbox consoles, and PC. Play it if you want, I guess.
For this segment, I'm a little heated. Do you want to know why, Dave?
Why are you heated, Howard?
Because apparently the world of, baseball carding and comic book grading has entered the world of video games. For some reason, an unopened copy of Skyrim sold for $600. Yes, and that game. We'll get to that in a second. which immediately escalated in the same game where a copy of Super Mario 64 was graded and sold for $1.5 million. And then the week afterwards, an original NES copy of Super Mario Bros. Sold for $2 million. I don't know.
I thought it was Legend of Zelda.
One or the other. It's an old game. But we need to discuss how this is probably one of the stupidest ideas to scam a consumer I have ever seen in my life. Grading baseball cards makes sense because it's a limited production. They don't reprint it. Same thing with comics. They have limited runs. They don't reprint it. So a comic from 100 years ago, yeah, it would make sense why collectors want it and they would grade it, because grading is basically basing the quality of the card or the object itself, right? And how well it's preserved, if it's like a really limited quality and like that. It's a bunch of factors. Games don't do that. You can reprint a game from any generation, anytime. There's no limited runs of games, except limited run games, but they're not auctioning that off. They're taking Super Mario Bros. Or Legend of Zelda, things you can go to a mom and pop shop and buy at a relatively low price, and then saying, you know what, this is $2 million. This seems like a ploy to use the used game market, which is already destroyed. The used game market's destroyed because of eBay. And we'll talk about that in a second. But this just feels like a scam, basically. Because Skyrim is on every single console known to man after the 360 and PlayStation 3. So I don't see the appeal of a game that's actually still in print costing $600 unopened.
Especially considering it's like, I mean, it's 10 years old now. But it's a fairly recent game. Why would anyone pay anything over $100 for a sealed copy?
And it's one of the best-selling games known to man. But some reason, they did that. And like for something like Super Mario Brothers or Legend of Zelda, whichever one it was, I can kind of understand it because it's new in box. But like, still, it's stupid. Like for a new in-box game of like an NES, I probably wouldn't pay anything over like 500, and that's pushing it. Yeah, that's pushing it. And maybe if it was a rare game, I'd understand.
Yeah, but like it's Mario.
It's Mario. It's Skyrim. Two of the biggest things in
not
the industry.
exactly rare.
Not rare. Like if this was like a rare prototype demo disc, I get it. But it's not. It is a copy of a game that you can go and buy for $5.
And play on almost any console anywhere.
This is like a gimmick. And I think this is like one of the effects of how the used game market is disgusting. Because there's really no limit or like no control over what the prices of the used games are. Most of the reason why used game prices are so high is because people just, and this has been a thing for 10 years, people just say, well, eBay said I could. So you'll see copies of a very popular game that has a lot of old copies in rotations in stores, like Resident Evil 2, going for $80. Resident Evil 2 is not an $80 game. It's not rare. It was sold millions of copies. I get it if it's something like Silent Hill games, because those are always in high demand because, you know, those were rare at first and now people love them, and there's no collections. But the used game market is kind of like trash. So, like, you got to hope you have a mom and pop shop that has decent things. But, like, because eBay doesn't control prices.
I mean, I feel I was lucky a couple months ago to find a copy of the Telltale Back to the Future game for $60.
Yeah. A copy of a video game that came out 10 years ago for $60.
Granted, it's delisted on every possible marketplace, but $60?
$60.
It's a little high.
It's a little high.
Just a little bit.
A little bit too high. And, you know, maybe this could be like the fact about how companies don't try their best to archive games or make them backwards compatible, sure, we can have a discussion on that. But I really do think that this grading thing just came from the lack of control of used games and not having an actual viable way to producing, the worth of a game, especially when most of the time the game could be ported at a cheaper price. That's why, actually, a fun fact, if you want to look, not a lot of original Xbox, well, the original Xbox games that the Xbox Series X has, backwards compatible, the prices aren't too high on them anymore. Do you know why? Because now people can digitally buy them. So, I really think that maybe there should be a push for making more of these games available to play, but grading them just feels like a scam at this point, and you shouldn't fall for it. If you ever, like Dave said, if it's a sealed copy of a game, never go more than 500. Even that's pushing it, depending on how rare the game is.
Which, again, for a game like Super Mario Brothers, not rare at all.
Nope.
And it's like you're literally grading the box.
Like, from what I understand about baseball cards, it's preserving the box. Well, I'm sorry, the card. It's like, preserving the card, how old it is, how like the limited number it came from. Like if there was 500 cards, you can't do that because at any point, like let's say if it wasn't sealed, at any point someone can just take the disc out and put it in a different disc from a disc made 5 years later. Because you got to remember, Xbox 360 was 2005 to 2013. So like, are we really gonna start determining yes, I need the SKU number, I need the disc number, we need all this? That's ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous upkeep, especially when some 360 games are still in production. Like 360 games are still being reprinted because of backwards compatibility. So like having Skyrim be reprinted. I mean Skyrim can be reprinted. So like I fail to see how actually grading it on a scale of 0 to 10 works.
You got me, man. I got nothing. It seems almost counterproductive.
Yeah.
To the, as you said, the used game, not industry, but
market.
Yeah, the market. Thank you. I don't know, man. It's stupid.
It's stupid.
You heard it here first. It's stupid.
Stupid. All right, so here we go. We are going to go at it with our second review.
Surprise.
Our second in-depth review. Of course, how could we follow up our review of Resident Evil Village with a game that's near and dear to our hearts?
Greatest game of all time.
The 2020 game, developed by Purple Lamp Studios and published by THQ Nordic, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. So I guess to start us off is what is this game? This is a remake from the ground up. They don't change the plot. They don't change the order. They don't change levels. It's just they made the game look pretty. I want to say the 2004 platformer SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, which received a cult following after the game came out. It sold really well, but it received a cult following in the years afterwards for being an actually decent platformer. A little floaty at times, but it was actually really great.
Well, it should be floaty. They're underwater.
Good point. But it gained cult appeal, especially when the speedrunning community got its hands on the game. We have an old interview with the world record speedrunner Shift on how this came to be. But with a lot of help and a lot of, I guess, viewing eyes, especially after SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom was at GDQ, I guess it incentivized THQ Nordic to start bringing back SpongeBob games with this remaster. We have both played it. And honestly, do you want to just start getting out general thoughts of what you thought of the game before we start getting in depth with
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game. There's really nothing more you can say. It's like it has for a licensed game for a Nickelodeon cartoon. It's way better than it has any right to be.
Yeah. There's no real reason why they went that hard at making a good game back then. Especially since the game before it, which was Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, that game was bad.
I don't even think I may have played like 10 minutes of it.
Yeah,
like way back then when that was out. I'm like, wow, this is not fun.
Yeah, but I always have great nostalgia for SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, and it's one of the earliest gaming memories I have up there with Pokemon. So this is like nostalgia.
Yeah. It was one of the first games I owned. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have many games growing up. I had Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, the tie-in game for the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Tragic, he didn't even have Spider-Man 2.
I know, I didn't. Was that even on the GameCube? I don't even remember.
It was. I have it.
Well, I don't know. I never played it. But yeah, it's very nostalgic for me. I mean, Howard and I had talked at length about Rehydrated, and I just never got around to playing until very recently when I was at a friend's house, and he had it on his PlayStation, and I was just like, oh, I'll boot it up. Played it for like an hour, and then as soon as I got home, I went ahead and bought it. Platinumed it within, I don't know, definitely a week. Less than a week I platinumed it just because I was having so much fun with it. It's because of, like, all these memories coming back. Because, like, I don't think I ever beat it on the GameCube. So I'm like, I feel like I've accomplished something having now beat it completely to 100%.
You know, it's same. It's like that type of closure. Because I got close. I looked at my old save file, and I was at 73%. I didn't beat it. I didn't 100% it. So I guess there is that level of closure.
I don't think I ever even got to, like, the final, like, section of Bikini Bottom.
Oh, wow.
Like, I don't think who was it? It's Robot Patrick is the second boss?
Yeah,
I don't think I ever got past Robot Patrick any further than that.
Yeah, so I guess we should start off with a plot synopsis. It's our favorite aquatic friends, SpongeBob and Patrick.
And Sandy.
The plart Ballplart Mole Cop. Yeah, okay, good job, me.
Ballplart Mole Cop.
It starts with Plankton basically having a new genius scheme where he builds robots to take over the world, but he failed to actually, but he put on the switch that makes it so they have free will instead of actually obeying his orders.
Yeah, it was on the don't obey.
Don't
setting.
obey. And basically, the robots throw Plankton out of the chum bucket, and they just start producing hordes of robots to take over Bikini Bottom. Meanwhile, SpongeBob and Patrick are playing, and they wished robots were real. So Patrick puts a toy in the magic conch and then shakes it up and wishes for robots to be real. And they wake up to find Bikini Bottom is in mass turmoil because the robots trashed literally everything. And so the game, you start off in SpongeBob's house. You do a nice tutorial. I played it on launch, and the achievement for it was bugged for collecting everything in SpongeBob's house, where if you leave the house, it bugs it, so you can't ever get it again unless you start a new file. So that was fun. But it's a third-person collectathon platformer akin to games like Banjo-Kazooie and Super Mario 64, where you go after things such as golden spatulas, and like they gate it so that level progression is tied to that. So when you start the game, you get one golden spatula, you leave SpongeBob's house. And you're at SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick's house in the beginning. And Plankton basically tells you that he not him, but someone else made robots in the chum bucket.
They bent all his spoons.
They bent all of his spoons and is asking SpongeBob for help. And SpongeBob gets his wish, he gets to play with robots. And the first area you get to go to is Jellyfish Fields, which is what a lot of the demo showed us. And we can then see what Rehydrated really did is it made everything look pretty.
It is so gorgeous.
It is colorful, it's great, and oh god, the little jellyfish theme song, jellyfish themes theme song, like the doo 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 doo. That's like so nostalgic as you see everything like pretty. The gameplay is nearly the same, only the controls to be a little tightened up, little tightened up. And you get to, and basically when you go into a level like Jellyfish Fields, it's a ginormous, sprawling level full of, I think, about 8 to 10 objectives you could do.
I think so.
Oh,
I think it's 10 for each section.
Okay, and along with that, you collect Patrick's socks, and he'll give you some money. You collect shiny things, and Mr. Krabs will give you stuff, and there's lots to do. Jellyfish Fields is like the introductory level. And then also in that first section, you also gain access to Downtown and Goo Lagoon. Replaying Downtown, I found out I'm really not the biggest fan of that level.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was, I think, I don't know, there was just something about it when I was replaying. I was like, oh, I remember this being a lot cooler when I was a kid. Like, this was like a more full city, but it's like a little grid.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just because we were so much younger playing it seemed bigger than it actually was.
Yeah, which I guess that is a thing about being an adult playing a game 15 years later.
Yeah,
is the world's more fantastical.
Absolutely.
So that was like, so was that part of your first hour that you were revisiting? Like how far did you get in that first hour? Did you get?
I think I only went through Jellyfish Fields in that first hour.
Okay. But Jellyfish Fields is such a good opening level.
It's such a good opening level because the music is, it's so good.
Yeah.
I constantly get that theme stuck in my head. Even before I bought the game, it would just be every so often just. Da, da.
And honestly, I guess I love this game a little too much because when this Rehydrated game came out, it got a lot of mixed reviews.
Really?
Well, yeah, because as you can know from, I'm going to throw out on a limb saying they don't get it, considering one of the bad reviews are from IGN and they could not figure out how the Bubble Bowl worked.
God, that was infuriating to watch.
I understand that the game is an old game, but I think half of it's due to the fact that they don't get why people like it, and half of it was because it still kept a lot of the game's jankiness. And I can understand. Do I think it's like a 4 out of 10? No. I don't know. I'm thinking it's like a 7, 8.
8 sounds good.
Like a high 7, low 8. That sounds good to me. That's what I'd personally go with. Right?
Yeah, that sounds. I like that.
Yeah.
8 out of 10. You heard it here first. I mean, not first because the game's been out for over a year now.
No, we're first. We're doubling down. We're actually the first people to 100% SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. It just took so long because people just, I don't know, they just suck at the game. What are we supposed to do?
They're bad at video games. I don't know what to tell you.
Unlike us, gamer gods.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, do you have any closing thoughts on this?
It's just a good game. Go play it.
It's a good game.
That's my closing thoughts.
And remember, if you want any more reviews from us, let us know. We'll ignore you and then go on to review SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, like we did now, or some other weird thing we both had time to play.
We'll review the game again on the next episode.
We'll review
It'll
Duke
probably
Nukem.
be the exact same review.
We'll review Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah. And Aliens Colonial Marines.
Of course. Why wouldn't we? And that's about the end of our show. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, yell at us, give us a big fat hug. Do whatever you want.
Smash that like button and that bell.
Exactly.
Just ringing bells is satisfying. You should know that.
Yeah.
You get a little. Actually, I don't think YouTube does a ding. But
yeah,
they
but
should.
They should.
Ooh. YouTube. Why haven't you put a ding on the bell?
Yeah, come on. We're giving you
bells are supposed to
ring. 3 ideas.
Come
here, Susan Wojcicki. I don't know how her last name.
Who?
Susan, the person who owns YouTube. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. But with that out of the way, I'm Howard.
I'm David.
You have a good night, everyone.
See ya.